Good morning, cryptocurrency questions, answers, news. This is a Market Minute brought to you on June 28th. So good morning, Curtis. How are you?
Doing good, Jeff. Just came off a relaxing weekend in Floyd, Virginia and Meadows of Dan. So I've had a nice little brush with nature this weekend and the family. Feeling
Excellent.
refreshed.
I saw those pictures and look gorgeous. Look gorgeous. Some nice family time, some good views, and some great sunsets.
Back to the grind.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm Jeff Brody, and I'm joined by Curtis Caudill, and we're bringing you the Market Minute here in the Facebook group, Cryptocurrency Questions, Answers, and News. And we encourage you to invite like-minded individuals to our group. So this morning we've got a few things we're going to cover. It's going to be Ontario Securities Commission, that's Ontario, Canada, is going after crypto exchanges, and we'll talk about that. Also, Ethereum, the undervalued crypto asset. Bitcoin and Ethereum having a great recovery after the weekend. And then Marvel enters the NFT space. So let's talk about that Ontario Securities Commission, because I wrote a post about that back early April. And essentially, the Ontario Securities Commission and part of the Canadian Securities Association, but it's really Ontario that's acting alone. The other provinces seem to feel they have it under control. So Ontario sent out notice to all of the crypto trading platforms that in order to transact with Ontarians, they must be registered with the Ontario Securities Commission and also with the IROC. So this is something that we've seen a move a year ago, or so, well, actually a little bit more than that, when Binance was banned from the US. And let's talk a bit about that. I know that specifically Ontario is concerned about derivatives and securities trading.
Yeah, the SEC and the OSC both have the mission to protect investors. And I'm not sure that this quite follows that agenda, because what makes one asset different than the other? And, I do understand, that the idea that there are these rug pull projects, that is definitely a concern. People put their money in them, equity gets removed, and the coin holder gets left with basically a worthless asset. However, a lot of these platforms that the OSC seem to be concerned about are not platforms that traditionally offer those types of securities. Now, Binance pulled out on their own, and I think that's because they offer the Binance Smart Platform, where most of those types of rug pull projects happen. So they saw the writing on the wall. But a letter went out on April 19th to all these exchanges. Some of the ones you may be more familiar with are Kucoin, Binanace, Bybit, and they were basically told, hey, you got to pay to play. You've got to register, and you've got to make sure that you're compliant. And that has definitely been the SEC's stance. And so a lot of these platforms are no longer available, or they won't be available. So I do foresee some of the foreign tokens that are not available to North American customers will probably drop in market cap. So if you have your money in them, be aware. Definitely could see some reduced volume.
Yeah, definitely. And the three that were named were Binanace, Kucoin, and Binance specifically. Mm-hmm. And I know Binance has issued a statement saying that Ontario users, effective June 26, will no longer be able to trade on the platform and should close all positions immediately. And they have until December of 2021 as things stand now. So I think that for us who use these platforms, it's time to move off the exchange and into our wallets.
Yeah, I will say that Binance will probably do what they did in the US.
That's what I was expecting.
They'll probably release some sort of compliant platform for Ontario, or maybe they will rope in the Binance.us and make it compliant for North American customers in general. But, all in all, regulations coming. It's not all necessarily bad. In order for some of these legacy investors to feel comfortable, there definitely needs to be some changes, but I don't like the idea that this is to protect the investor. I think there's a lot more to it.
Well, they always run under the guise of we're here to take care of you.
Yeah.
And we really know that really says we're here to take care of our own interests, and we want to make sure that we have the earliest access to the best deals.
Yeah, pay to play. It's a pay to play market.
There still are platforms out there that one could trade on, especially if you're looking at the DEXs. And it may cost us a little bit more than trading on the Kucoin platform. I really enjoyed that. But hey, life is what it is, and we move on. So it's going to be interesting to see how things play out in the coming months. But as we know, our friends in the US, for us, Ontario, Canada folks, life isn't over by far. Just make sure you take the notice to get your crypto into your wallets, whether they're hardware or software based.
Yeah, and you made a good point, Jeff, that if they're still interested in some of these early projects, the DEXs are the way to go.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to seeing that project Pokedex on the Polkadot chain come out and bring those centralized exchange features in a decentralized mode. So that would be very useful. And then, we've got MetaMask and we've got Uniswap and SushiSwap, and we have ways of getting in and out and trading even on the Binance Smart Chain.
Mm-hmm.
So we still have access to everything. It just might make it a little bit more difficult. So we take our lumps, but we keep on investing. So next we're going to talk about Ethereum. I'm seeing a lot of talk about Ethereum being greatly undervalued. So what gives with that, and what's your thoughts about it?
Well, we've spoken previously about the upgrade that's coming, and a lot of the tokenomics involved in the cryptocurrency market revolve around coin supply and utility. And with the downturn in the market, and we've discussed this before, a lot of the coins that do not have utility are going to go to the wayside. However, the ones that do are seriously undervalued. And what I mean by that is right now, Ethereum as an ecosystem has all kinds of different applications built on top of it. And right now, the fees for transactions are lower than I can remember in recent times. So you have a supply of over 100 million coins that will probably evaporate by close to 1% every year. So you have Bitcoin being a fixed supply asset that currently has no utility other than being a store of value and a highly liquidable asset, versus Ethereum that's going to kind of fly under the radar, because Bitcoin not only has resistance on the charts, but it has political pressure, political resistance. And so Ethereum is kind of this overly used, undervalued asset that's going to fly under the radar and probably catch the coattails of Bitcoin quite quickly.
Yeah, I think so. I've been seeing the call for the flippening. this year. Maybe not long lived, but to see, a day or so of where the market cap of Ethereum may outshine Bitcoin. So, and it's not bad for Bitcoin. It's good for cryptocurrency.
Yes.
Right? Because if Bitcoin is sitting around $1 trillion market cap, and we see Ethereum hit $1 trillion market cap, we've effectively almost doubled the market cap of the entire cryptocurrency space. And we all know that the more money that's into this space, the better off the cryptocurrency will be and the less volatile the market may become.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the idea that a lot of these chains in the future will be more interconnected and interwoven. Doesn't really matter where the money's at as long as the money's in. But I do think that a lot of it will come through Ethereum. And Ethereum hasn't seen the type of institutional investment that Bitcoin has. But I think that that's going to change over the summer and after the hard fork.
Yeah, I think we're starting to see some of that right now in the play out, the way the market is moving. I think there's some slow, steady accumulation going on. I'll mention the Wyckoff, and I think the Wyckoff is playing out. And I think what I want people to understand is that this is not some dude sitting in an office making buys and sells. This is a complex algorithm. It's distributed. It's bots that are implementing a very specific buy and sell algorithm. And it's based on market feedback, so that if there's too much, if there's too much acceleration, you're going to see harder sells. If there's not enough acceleration, you'll see harder buys. I mean, if you took a look at the Ethereum green candle we had yesterday, where we gained $200, it was, it's pretty amazing. And it goes to that point that we're moving the market and we're edging it forward. So I'm excited to see this recovery, and hopefully we see, July is very green.
Yeah, and for those of you that aren't familiar with the Wyckoff chart, you can pretty much line it up with what's happened with Bitcoin in the cryptocurrency market, and it's almost identical. So if you have any Photoshop skills, feel free to do that yourself. But it appears that we're in phase C, which is the spring, and it's following it probably more closely than I would have ever thought. So if all indicators are there, we're definitely in the spring, and there will definitely be more up and down, but it will be ascending in nature as it volatilely swings to the top and the bottom of those channels.
Absolutely. And, it's a good thing, because what we're seeing is the market. There is a roadmap to the market recovery. And, we're seeing large organization buying, and they definitely wouldn't be buying if this was the end of the bull run. It just wouldn't make any sense. Why would I be buying at, a not optimal price? So if we take a look at it, we did a 50 to 55% recovery, or not recovery, sorry, retracement, which brought us into this super buying opportunity. And I think really the noise that was out there that Bitcoin is going to 20,000, it's going to 15,000, was really to slow the buying down to I'll say this again, hodo, from our friends from
Tesla.
Yeah, is we're going to hold that door open for y'all, and we're going to let you get in. And that it was Game of Thrones I was thinking of.
Sure. Yeah.
And so we're holding the door open, and I think that window of opportunity is shrinking, and it's still, we're still 50% off. So it's still a good time to get in. So,
Hey,
I think
With that being said, I do want to point out to our viewers that if you watch the charts, anytime Bitcoin looks like it's getting close to 40K, all of a sudden Elon throws out a nice little tweet that knocks it right back down. And he's no dummy. He knows exactly what he's doing. He knows that he has the power and influence to manipulate the market with a single tweet. He's done it a couple times. But as everything else goes, you can only press that button so many times before the effect dwindles. And I think we're getting to that moment where, yeah, Bitcoin or Elon's tweet as Bitcoin was approaching 40K did make it go down, but it didn't have the devastating effects that it did previously.
Yeah, it's actually, I use Elon as an early warning. So when I see Elon tweet something like that, if I have any open positions, I usually close them and then sell out, go into a cash position, and then I wait for the market to react. And so I just kind of take Elon as a early warning. He's kind of like an alarm.
That's
So I'm
not a
sure,
bad idea.
I'm sure that he's a smart man, and we know that he's a developer at the core. So he could definitely have some algorithms running to see what's going on in the marketplace, and get that little bell that goes off, because it's uncanny how accurate his and accurately timed his tweets are.
Yeah, it's definitely not an accident.
No, not at all. So, well, let's talk about the NFT space. And we see that Marvel has announced that they're releasing NFTs on the Vive platform. What's your thoughts about NFTs? And we talked about a few weeks ago about all of the NFTs, the artworks coming out, and so having um, a large brand like Marvel throwing their hat in the ring with Vive and releasing these NFTs.
Yeah, the NFT market in general, has exploded this year. I think there's definitely a lot more room for growth. But I think what you're going to see is some consolidation into these larger companies that already offer collector's items like Marvel. Marvel baseball card companies like Topps, the NBA, all of those are really going to hit the market hard. And of course, your industries where NFTs become kind of a new technology and allows them to monetize things, those will go well too, like video games. We've talked about that. Being able to buy, sell, and trade items in the digital form for an actual asset, those will all do well. I think you do have an overinflated space because you've got anybody and everybody trying to get into the NFT market. But at the end of the day, people are going to go with brands and things that they trust, or they're going to go with the newer things like the video games, engine coin, things like that. But ultimately, those coins are always going to be a good investment because they run those ecosystems. I see them as a bigger play sometimes than the NFTs, with the exception of Marvel. Because as we all know, Marvel collectors items, tried and true, have always increased in value over the years. And bringing that to the NFT space, it's not going to be any different.
It's been really interesting to follow Ecomi, who is the creator of the Vive ecosystem, and the brands that they've brought in has been just short of amazing. Here we see there's an organization that every time that does a drop, other NFT drop, they're dropping at least $1 million in sales. So when you look at that, week in, week out, as they do these drops, here's a crypto company that's generating $1 million in sales. So this is still a relatively fresh space, new space. From February to today, I've seen Ecomi really step up their game on the way that their trading platform, purchasing platform works. So I think that that's a sleeping giant, and the mastermind behind the relationships with these companies was the same fellow who brought in Pocket Monster, also known as Pokemon, to the North American market, a multi-billion-dollar market space. So I think that we'll see. I think Ecomi is going to be one of those sleeping giants, and they've really done well to anchor themselves in the NFT space.
Yeah, so, and for those who don't know, I think it's probably a good idea that we talk about the platform a little bit. And so everything that I know about it, and Jeff probably knows a lot more because he's been involved with it a bit longer than myself, but it's a cell phone application. You log in, you create an account, and you buy gems with USD or whatever other currency. And they have drops periodically. They'll announce the drops, and everybody kind of tries to log in and get them before they get sold out. And they do sell out quick. And then there's a secondary market provided for people that want to resell or rebuy. You buy something that was sold out. These NFTs currently, and it sounds kind of silly, but it's actually really cool. You can take your phone and the NFT that you have, it's a 3D image that you can blow up and move and take photos. If you want to put your Back to the Future car in your parking lot, you can do that sort of thing. And I imagine in the future that because of the way these things are designed, they will probably be implemented into either video games or some sort of, maybe comic book stories, or it'll definitely be interactive. They've definitely built in a lot of options for the future. And it's not just a little, I've got a little copy of a digital image. It's a full-blown 3D thing that you can scale, move around, and manipulate. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, it's super cool. And, Ecomi has hired the lead developer, game developer from Fortnite.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So, so they have on their slate these player versus player games. So it's really cool. Not financial advice. We're not financial advisors. We're just kind of reporting on what's going on in the market and what we're interested in. So thank you for joining us today. We're grateful that you've been here and stuck with us through today's show, and that yes, Tether's interesting. Lots of USDT moving into the exchange. We can talk about that tomorrow. And remember to invite your like-minded friends to Cryptocurrency Questions, Answers, News Facebook group. So, Curtis, as always, thank you so much.
Thank you, Jeff. Always a pleasure.
Have a great day, everyone. We'll talk to you soon.